we're going to talk about actual obesity. So what is obesity in general? And obesity gets this negative connotation where people almost bring into a moral aspect of it. So they think that calling somebody obese is a shot at their life, right? We're making fun of them. And I don't look at it this way. Obesity is essentially like a medical determination. It's almost like a fact. It's very similar to calling somebody poor. Poor has a very negative connotation behind it, but it's simply describing that person as having very little money. That's what we're talking about when we're talking about obesity. So there is nothing, we shouldn't stigmatize people who are obese. We should look at it as a medical term, a medical thing that we can address and hopefully make better. So what is obesity? Obesity is simply the excessive amount of body fat, usually around the midsection, but as you get incredibly obese and even more large than your body is able to handle, you're actually going to start noticing around areas like your arms, your face, your butt. All these different areas will have excess adipose tissue or body fat. And we discussed earlier in the podcast the different sources of that fat. So this is mainly subcutaneous fat, which you can see that's on the outside of your skin. When it comes to body weight, specifically when it comes to obesity, this is dictated by BMI, or it's usually calculated by BMI. And I put a link to a BMI calculator in the description so you can actually check and see what your BMI is and see if you're normal weight, overweight, or obese. Once you can check that, you can truly classify yourself if you're in a healthy or not healthy weight. So go ahead and take some time, check out that calculator in the description where you can see your current BMI. So when it comes to BMI, this is basically a ratio of your height to body weight, and they give you a calculation. That calculation, if it is greater than 30, you are considered obese. 25 to 30 is considered overweight. Anything below that is going to be either a normal weight or underweight. We're not going to go into the underweight category because this is about obesity, but if the number in the calculator for BMI is over 30, just know you are at obese. This is one way to look at it. What's getting more looked at too is also the waist circumference as well. So there's some individuals who are very muscular who might be considered overweight on the BMI category. But if you actually take their waist circumference, they are not considered that overweight or unhealthy. So when it comes to waist circumference, this is another way to check for obesity. 40 inches or 102 centimeters for male, or 35 inches and 89 centimeters for female is going to be what we consider as being obese. So if you take your waist circumference with one of those little tape measures and you're over that for those different categories, you'd be considered in the obese category. And a lot of times people look at individuals who are obese and they're like, that doesn't look very attractive. It's very cosmetic based, right? They see the excess body weight and they think basically that's why somebody would want to lose weight. They want to look better. And that is a huge driving force in losing weight and becoming less obese. But there are a lot of things under the hood or in our body that are actually going on as well. Some of these poor health outcomes from being obese: heart disease, joint issues, joint discomfort, high blood pressure, chronic inflammation. We talked about earlier that fat around your organs leads to chronic inflammation long term. Poor sleep, diabetes, even mental health issues can be tied to some of this. I didn't even mention this in my notes, but increased healthcare costs. You think about all these different things I just mentioned. These are things that are potentially stemming from obesity. And if you're talking about obesity in general, this is something that is extremely preventable, extremely preventable. To tell me you're no good, I'm brushing away